Maggie from Luna and Ember. Welcome to my channel. Today I'd like to cover a few things that I feel like I left out in my last video. I got a lot of great responses and I'd like to cover that entire thing over in a very quick but more condensed and to the point format. I was a little nervous and talking too much. The main thing I want to focus on, how to get a nice smooth product without a lot of bubbles and a nice smooth level bottom so they sit nice and evenly and you don't have a vessel that rocks. And then I want to talk about stabilizing your molds. A lot of these molds are only made for resin, so putting concrete in them makes it a little heavier and you could get molds that shift, and that's a problem. So I'll show you how I figured out a way to stabilize a lot of my molds. And then we'll be making some Orgonite pieces. Orgonite in the trays that I've stabilized. So let's get started. First, wear gloves, and then I'm going to weigh. The reason why I weigh is because I want all of my vessels to weigh the same. And you will find that once in a while, if it's moist, you might get a little bit of rockiness. You really want to sift it. It's like flour. That's why I weigh it, and I want it to be consistent. Now you have a nice powdery mix. Okay, now we have a nice powdery mix. I'm gonna mix my water. Sorry, I'm in the way, I know. I'm gonna get my titanium dioxide. This will make it white. Now I'm going to add my water. I'm going to try not to mix where I'm putting air into it. We want the least amount of bubbles as possible. Should wear a mask and try to keep, your face away from this. Okay, looks good. We shouldn't have any lumps. Okay, now going to pour it. We're going to massage it. Make sure we get in all the little, nooks and crannies. Even if it looks like it's a simple mold, do this. Try to get the outside nice and, nice cover on it. Especially like on the underside here. That's where I tend to see bubbles. And this would be the top down here because it's upside down. Bang it. Keep pouring. Move fast. And you want to pour like literally right under that line. I want to massage it right there, I see. Okay. That's it. Whoop, I went over. Okay, let's see. Alright, so I'm going to get a popsicle stick and I'm just going to wipe it. Get that out. And then I'll start vibrating. I pretty much vibrate the whole table. Let me get a paper towel. Right under. We're going to try to get it right under. Oh, I made a mess. It's alright. Sometimes you make a mess. Sometimes you don't. Usually when I record, I don't know. All right, I think I'm nervous. I still went over. I want it right under. Okay, right there. Perfect. Leave some of that up. I'm gonna bang it. Okay, and I want to get these. I want to get the bubbles out, but I'm gonna pour this little pop because this is already setting up. Get this out of the way. Sorry about that. But when you do anything with a handle, try to take a popsicle stick and get it in there, because that will remedy having any bubbles in there. I'm going to do the same. We want it right almost to the top, but not right over the top. That's it. Bang that down a little. And that's it. This pretty much vibrates the whole table, so a lot of air, so we're good. And I'll unmold them in a little while. Thank you. I want to talk about these kind of molds and braces. I started working with this mold, and it's very similar to this mold. This one has a little bit more stability, but I just got it. I'm not going to recommend this mold because it's very floppy. When I got it, please check feedback, because a lot of people were complaining that if you look in the light, you can see there's some like scratches. So my pieces were coming out a little dull. So I wasn't happy with that. Plus, I was getting dips, but on this one I tried to make like a puzzle piece to go in the bottom, and it really actually wound up with a bulge where my cup won't sit on it perfectly flat. It does on this side, but not this side, so I just had it with this mold. There were too many problems. As you can see, there's like a scratch there. That's from the mold. So it's very important that you have a shiny mold, especially when you're using resin, because it will show up. Okay, so right now I'm going to show you basically how I made my mold. So what I did, I bought this mold. It was brand new. I filled it with concrete, just like I showed you in the other video. So I filled it with concrete. It was soft at the time. I thought I recorded it, but it turned out I didn't record the process. And you know what? I think it's easy. I could just explain it here. So I filled it up. I let it cure. And then when it was cured, I turned it over. I turned them both over. And I filled them with soft resin. And then I let that sit overnight. And now I have these great little puzzle pieces for this mold. If I buy another mold, I will buy the same mold and it should fit. Everything should be perfect. Excuse me. All right, so these should just fit in, and then when you do go to make another mold, it's hard to pull out the mold with them on, so like, see, I just popped that dry one in there and it's kind of hard to get out. So you just kind of pull it up. But when you are going to make the mold, when it's empty, get that out of here. We're going to start like that, and we're going to make sure it feels nice and smooth, because that extra weight will push down and you will get spots like that in your mold. So the best thing to do is to use something to level it and give it support. Now this one I did the same thing. These have some side supports. I noticed when I you could even like put things next to it, like a tray or another tray, to kind of help support it if you want. That's the easiest way for me to do it. Just use something like the tray, because it sits nice and perfectly. You don't want to press it too much because that can misshape it. But that is a great way, I think, this is a great way to use these molds and support them. I had a recording. Okay, so just adding some rose quartz, small pieces, rough rose quartz, not tumbled. For this, I'm going to make under what I normally make. I would normally make this with 1.5 cups, but since I'm not going to fill it all the way, I think I'm going to go under that. I'm mixing my concrete like I do normally. And plus, I need to refill my concrete thing. Okay. Okay, so I like to add titanium dioxide for whitening. It takes away. Okay, so now I'm going to make my concrete for here. Kind of want to just fold it, get it nice and soft, get it all folded together. Don't mix it too crazy because then you'll get a ton of bubbles. Okay, I'm going to pour it in. I might need more for this one, but it's alright. We'll see. It's my first time working with this mold. Okay, the sides are important. That's where you'll get bubbles. So get in there with your popsicle stick and really try to like mold it in there. And that way you don't get as many bubbles or any bubbles. We'll do the same thing there. So I'm going to keep pouring because I hope you could see. I want to keep pouring here and just stop where my crystalline is. Okay, and I don't want it really to spread much further because I want to cover the whole thing with resin. That way the bottom isn't concrete and it's nice and soft and you can put it down on the surface. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing on this one. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so I'm getting it in here and I'm doing the same thing. I want to really like get it around the edges. You could use your little scraper or a popsicle stick. Just kind of paint it on there. That way you're not really getting all those bubbles. Plop it in. Plop it in. Okay, so do that. And that's all I really want for that because I don't want to overfill it. And that's that. So plop it down a little and turn your vibrating machine on. I don't have any bubbles. That's wonderful. Let's hope it turns out good. Now we're going to pour our resin. This is literally my favorite part. I love to work with resin. I'm using this kind of selenite. It's rough selenite chips. It's more like a powder. And what it does, it charges the crystals, keeps it charged, but it also, it doesn't dissolve. It acts like a powder, basically, and it makes it a little bit whitish. So I want more of that white on the bottom, and I want more clarity around the stones. Okay, And that's kind of how I made the top. So I want it to be similar. So I think this will be about 10 ounces of resin. So I'm going to, resin is 1 part, 1 part, 1 part hardener, 1 part resin. Pretty simple. And as usual, I'm going to mix in a recycled plastic container because I'm fancy like that. Scoop back here. Welcome to my messy space. I keep my resin in a box because resin is sticky and sometimes it gets on the outside of your bottle. So yeah. So I'm gonna do about let's go with 7 ounces or 6 ounces. Maybe 8. We'll go with 8. We're going to zero out our scale and do 4 and 4 of resin. Okay, so now I'm back, and basically this is the easy part. I just have to pour this in and get it level. But just like the concrete, we really want to start to focus around the edges, like right here, around the edge. So we have some stones in there, and we really want to get it in there. Get everything saturated, because we want this to be nice and smooth. Now I'm going to pour a little from this side. And get the whole thing covered. I will add my selenite. See, now I'm only going to add a little bit to get some things cleaned up. Then I'll get my heat gun going and I'll show you how I do that. Get earbuds in, turn down the volume because it's loud, just like the vibrating machine. I'm back and I'm ready to unmold these pieces that I made last night or yesterday. I like to let tops like this really cure as long as possible. You could probably get away with getting something big out of a mold a little sooner, but with little things, with little knobs and things, you want to let them cure as long as possible. So I like to let these go like almost overnight sometimes, or at least, you know, 5-6 hours, because you can easily pull this off and break it. Okay, so now we're going to do the pumpkin, which is a little bit messy because I had a little bit of concrete on the outside and it's a little bit of work. So after I do this, I'll clean up and then we'll do the trees. Oh yeah. So it's beautiful. And even though it's just coming out of the mold, after you let it sit a little while, it starts to like even cure a little more and dry out. It's very dry, but I don't know how to explain it. It will even get a little whiter as you let it sit for about a day. So there you go. Yeah, it needs to sit a little longer. Now let's do the small one first. Don't forget we have the little puzzle pieces on the bottom to keep it nice and stiff so it doesn't sag. Now this gets a little complicated because it's stiff here and it's a little hard to pull out because of the stiffness, but oh, it came out nice. Oh, I love it. Perfect. I love it. Okay, that was awesome. There's nothing like unmolding and seeing like, oh, that doesn't look good. So that one made me happy. This made me happy. Okay, so this is the big one. It's perfectly cured. Some of the resin went around the concrete, that's okay. And now we're going to kind of peel it back because these will bend a little. There we go. I don't want to keep those in there. It doesn't matter. You can pull them out. It'd probably be easier if you pull them out. Just pull them out. You could just pop them back in. Oh, I like it. I love it. So there you go. Looks great. No sagging. I can already see. Let's put something on it. Sits nice. Sits beautifully. Oh, I'm so happy. It's perfect. It's really beautiful. Very smooth. See very little bit marks, but it's fine. This is probably the best I'm gonna get it. Yay. I'm so happy that worked. Okay, so now I could put this in a video and edit it. And I hope you got some tips and your projects will work out as good as mine did, or at least as good as I think they did. Thank you for watching. Like, share, and subscribe.
one.